Number 1. Of all things that exist, some are within our control, and others are not. Within our control are our thoughts, impulses, desires, and actions. In short, everything that is our own doing. Not within our control are the body, possessions, reputation, position, and, essentially, everything that is not our own doing. The things within our control are naturally free, unhindered, and unrestrained. Those not within our control are weak, enslaved, subject to hindrance, and dependent on others. So remember that if you think that what is naturally dependent on others is free, and what belongs to others is your own, you will be hindered, you will grieve, you will be confused, and you will blame both gods and people. But if you understand that only what truly belongs to you is your own, and what belongs to others is indeed theirs, then no one will ever be able to constrain or hinder you. You will blame no one, you will accuse no one, you will do nothing against your will, no one will harm you, and you will have no enemies, for nothing can truly harm you. As you aim for these high ideals, remember that achieving them requires more than ordinary effort. You will have to give up some things entirely and delay others for the time being. And if you also desire things like office or wealth, it may happen that you fail to achieve them precisely because your focus is on these ideals, and you will certainly fail to achieve the things that alone bring freedom and happiness. So, make it your practice to confront every troubling impression with the words, "You are just an impression, and not at all what you seem to be." Then test it by the rules that you know, and first by the chief test of all. It is concerned with what is within our control, or what is not within our control. And if it is concerned with what is not within our control, be ready with the answer that it is nothing to you. 2. Remember that the will to obtain something promises the attainment of what you desire, and the will to avoid something promises the avoidance of what you wish to escape. And the person who fails to get what they desire is unfortunate, and the one who does not escape what they wish to avoid is miserable. If, then, you try to avoid only what is unnatural in the realm within your control, you will escape everything you wish to avoid. But if you try to avoid things like disease, death, or poverty, you will be miserable. Therefore, let your will to avoid be focused on only what is within human power and is contrary to nature. For now, you must completely set aside the will to obtain, because if you desire something beyond human control, you are bound to be unfortunate. None of the things within human power that you could honorably desire is yet within your reach. Your concern should be with the impulse to act or not to act, but exercise this gently and without strain, and as a temporary measure. 3. When anything, from the smallest thing upwards, is appealing or useful or an object of affection, always remind yourself of its nature. If you are fond of a jug, say that you are fond of a jug. Then you will not be upset if it is broken. If you kiss your child or your wife, remind yourself that you are kissing a human being, for then, if death strikes you, you will not be disturbed. 4. When you are about to undertake something, remind yourself of the nature of the task. If you are going to bathe, think about what happens at the bath: water splashing on people, others bumping into each other, some people arguing, others stealing, and you will be more prepared if you say to yourself from the start, "I want to bathe, and I want to keep my will in harmony with nature." And so, with everything you do, for this way, if anything hinders you during your bath, you will be ready to say, "I did not want only to bathe, but to keep my will in harmony with nature, and I will not keep it if I lose my temper over what happens." 5. What upsets people is not the events themselves, but their judgment about those events. For example, death is not inherently dreadful or else Socrates would have feared it. The only thing that makes it dreadful is the judgment that it is dreadful. So when we are hindered, disturbed, or distressed, we should not blame others, but ourselves, specifically our own judgments. Blaming others for one's misfortune shows a lack of education. Blaming oneself shows that one's education has begun. Blaming neither oneself nor others shows that one's education is complete. 6. Do not take pride in something that is not your own. If a horse were to boast, "I am handsome," we would tolerate it. But when you boast, "I have a handsome horse," remember that it is the horse's quality, not yours, that you are proud of. So, what can you truly call your own? The way you deal with your impressions. Therefore, when you handle your impressions in accordance with nature, then you may be proud, for your pride will be in something that is truly your own. 7. When you are on a voyage and your ship is anchored, you may disembark to gather some fresh water. Along the way, you might find a small shellfish or a truffle, and you can pick it up, but you must always keep your attention on the ship and constantly look back to see if the helmsman calls you. If he does, you must leave everything behind and return to the ship immediately, or be dragged aboard like a sheep with its legs tied. Life is just like this. If you have a dear wife or a child, they are like the shellfish or the truffle, pleasant in their own way. But if the helmsman calls, you must return to the ship, leave everything behind, and don't look back. If you are old, do not stray far from the ship, so that when you are called, you won't be delayed in returning. 8. Do not wish that events happen as you desire, but instead wish that your desires conform to the events that occur, and you will have peace. 9. Sickness may hinder the body, but it cannot hinder the will unless the will allows it. Lameness may impede the leg, but not the will. Remind yourself of this whenever anything happens, for you will find that while it may hinder something else, it cannot hinder you. 10. When something happens to you, always turn inward and ask yourself what ability you have to respond to it. If you see a beautiful woman, you have the ability of self-control to exercise. If you face trouble, you have the ability of endurance. If someone mocks you, you have the ability of patience. And if you train yourself in this way, your impressions will not overwhelm you. Part 2. 11. Never say, "I lost it," but rather, "I gave it back." Did your child die? They were given back. Did your wife die? She was given back. Has your estate been taken from you? That too was given back. But you might say, "The one who took it is wicked." What does it matter to you who the giver chose to reclaim it? As long as it was given to you, take care of it, but remember, it was never truly yours, only entrusted to you like an inn to a traveler. 12. If you wish to make progress, let go of reasoning like this: "If I don't attend to my affairs, I will have nothing to live on," or "If I don't discipline my son, he will turn out to be wicked." It's better to die of hunger and remain free from worry and fear than to live in luxury and be troubled in the mind. It's better for your son to turn out wicked than for you to be miserable. Start with small things. Did you spill a drop of oil? Did someone steal your sip of wine? Tell yourself, this is the price for freedom from passion and peace of mind. Nothing comes without a cost. When you call your servant, consider that he may not hear you, or if he hears, he may not follow your instructions. Remember, his actions do not have the power to rob you of peace. 13. If you want to make progress, Be content to appear foolish and simple in external matters. Do not wish for people to think that you know something. If anyone starts to think that you are somebody, distrust yourself. Understand that it's difficult to keep your will aligned with nature while also tending to outward appearances. If you focus on one, you must neglect the other. 14. It is foolish to wish that your children, wife, or friends could live forever, for that means that you want something beyond your control to be under your control, something that does not belong to you to be yours. Similarly, if you wish for your servant to never make mistakes, you are foolish, for you are wishing for vice not to be vice. However, if you wish not to be disappointed in your desires, that you can achieve. Practice what lies within your power. Each person's master is the one who controls what they desire or dread. Therefore, if you wish to be free, desire nothing or avoid nothing that depends on others, or else you will be a slave. 15. Remember that you should conduct yourself in life as you would at a banquet. When a dish is handed to you, reach out politely and take it. If it passes by you, do not hold it back. If it has not yet reached you, do not yearn impatiently for it, but wait your turn. Apply this attitude toward children, spouse, position, and wealth, and one day you will be worthy to dine with the gods. But if you do not take what is offered and despise it, then not only will you share the gods' banquet, but you will also share their power. For by acting this way, Diogenes and Heraclitus and others like them were called divine and earned that name. 16. When you see someone crying in sorrow over the loss of a child, or for the loss of property, be careful not to be swayed by the impression that it's the external events that make them miserable. Remember this. What distresses them is not the event itself, because the same event doesn't distress others, but rather their judgment of the event. So, don't hesitate to offer them words of sympathy, and even join them in a sigh if it happens, but be careful not to let that sorrow penetrate your inner self. 17. Remember that you are an actor in a play, and the playwright chooses the plot, and if he wants it short, it will be short. If long, it'll be long. If he assigns you the role of a poor man, you must play that role to the best of your ability. The same goes if you are to play a cripple, a magistrate, or an ordinary person. Your task is to play the role you've been given well. The choice of the role itself is not yours. 18. When you hear a raven croak ominously, don't let the impression mislead you. Immediately remind yourself, these omens mean nothing to me. They might only relate to my body, my possessions, my reputation, my children, or my spouse. But as for me, all omens are good if I choose to make them so, because whatever happens, I have the power to find benefit in it. 19. You can be invincible if you never engage in a contest where victory isn't within your control. So, when you see someone else being honored, given great power, or gaining high reputation, don't let the impression overwhelm you. If you understand that true goodness lies only in what is within your control, there's no reason for envy or jealousy. You don't wish to be a praetor, a prefect, or a consul, but instead to be free, and there is only one path to freedom: to scorn what is not within your power. 20. Remember that harsh words or physical blows are not in themselves an outrage. It's your judgment that makes them so. So when someone angers you, know that it is your own thoughts that have caused the anger. Therefore, your first task is not to let your impressions carry you away. If you can gain time and delay your response, you will find it easier to control yourself.